Fairytale is back, and we are now finally back on the main story. That's right, we are now back with Team Natsu. And we start off with Jellal saying that he's gonna leave. And I'm with Lucy on this. I'm surprised that he decided to leave, because he's helped them defeat 2 out of 5 of the Dragon Gods already, so why not just help them finish the job? I mean, why go home now? Anyway, everyone except for Natsu realizes that he wishes to have a little more time with Erza, and so they split. They're basically saying their final goodbyes to one another before Jellal gets on the boat, but he does say that he now wants to join Fairytale. Finally, and he asked her if she could put in a good word for him, and she's ecstatic about this. Erza goes into her full tomboy mode, jumps on him, starts punching him in the chest, saying that absolutely he'd be accepted, no problem, but then obviously realizes that this is not Natsu or Gray, this is Jellal, turns back into her very feminine self, and immediately just jumps off of him. He straight up says that he wants to join Fairytale because of her, and then she better come back safe. And she of course promises this, but let's be honest, that very much sounded like a proposal, but at the same time it clearly wasn't, because these two they're worse than Natsu and Lucy. But either way, it's finally clear these two are moving forward, and they'll probably start a relationship when Erza gets back. So we then jump over to the rest of Natsu's group, to a little bar that they're at, and it's called Beacock. Yeah, that's literally the name. And it's written in English, not in kanji, so it's not a mistranslation. He literally named a bar cock in his manga. Like, alright, sure. I'm hoping he just forgot another O, and he meant to read cook, but it's Beacock, so let's go with that. And they're all asking about the Fire God's Castle to the bartender. Now, at first, the bartender legitimately seemed like he was confused on the subject, because he says he's never even heard of the name before, but it's clear that he's actually just trying to keep them alive because he's afraid. Which means they've actually entered a town filled with good people, unlike before, where every time they went, they were always subject to the rule of and loyalty of a dragon god. But this guy legitimately is just worried about their lives. But yeah, he continues to lie, saying that he has adventurers there all the time who are talking about all kinds of labyrinths and monsters and such, but he's never heard of this castle. And that's when Wendy says, okay, in that case, there must be a guild nearby. And his only response to her is, there are no children in the bar. And because she's standing in between Natsu and Lucy, he assumes that she is their kid. And Natsu's response to that, no, do you see her hair? I have pink hair, Lucy has yellow hair. Like, we don't match. This couldn't be our kid. He then asked Lucy, hey, what hair color would our child have? And she's completely stunned by this, because that would imply the two of them were actually going to have a kid together. Gray then brings up Edalus and the fact that the two of them had nausea together, and Lucy of course spits back at him, well, you had a kid with Juvia, and obviously it just continues to fall apart from there. Seriously, when it comes to Fairytale, that entire guild's a mess when it comes to relationships. Charla is just done with that conversation and immediately goes back to the main topic, which is, so, is there a guild nearby or not? That's when one of the customers says there is a guild nearby. The bartender immediately recognizes him, calls him Brain, and starts to freak out and says, leave them be, they're outsiders, they don't know anything. And he's just basically begging for Natsu's group's lives. So yeah, Brain's a freak. The guy keeps repeating the same words over and over again. Rumbly tummy, rumbly tummy, rumbly tummy. He's just saying that he's hungry over and over again, but in the most creepy, childish way possible. He sees Happy and Charla, and he immediately says they look delicious. And once you get a good look at this dude's face, his gimmick is pretty obvious. Like, he has splits in his mouth, splits in his neck, splits everywhere over his body. And you pretty much were able to guess, even before he reveals his ability, what his ability is, especially since he keeps mentioning that he's hungry. Obviously, Natsu steps in between him and the Exceeds, because he's threatening to eat them. He's a fucking psychopath. Natsu then demands that he apologize to Happy and Charla. Then the bartender actually tries to ask Brain to forgive Natsu for stepping up on him. Brain's response is, well, you know, I shouldn't have said they look delicious without actually testing it first. He then reaches out his hand. It expands to like 10 times its normal size. And of course, the split on the hand turns into a mouth. And he then attempts to eat them through his hand. And Brain gets real close. Like, Happy and Charla are inside of his hand mouth and are about to be swallowed before Natsu is able to punch the dude with a fire punch. And luckily that causes the hand to then spit the two of them out. So while Brain is on the ground, he then says yummy, full tummy, full tummy. This is that little singing thing again, but this time he actually starts to consume Natsu's flames throughout his entire body, which once again makes sense. Those slits are everywhere. He probably has mouths everywhere on his body. So he doesn't actually need to use his main mouth to consume the flames. He can literally just use all the other mouths on his body. I'm going to guess the way his ability works isn't that he's a fire dragon slayer, and so he can eat fire magic or fire in general. I think his ability is just to consume anything and everything. So that's why he's able to eat fire. So he could probably eat any element. He could probably eat any inanimate object as well, because he straight up was going to eat Happy and Charla. So that just is his ability, eating. Which means he's another wizard with hacks abilities that they're going to have to figure out to get past, because that's just how it works in Fairy Tail. Always someone with hacks. Brain then says he's full and says thanks for the meal and just walks out. Natsu starts to go after him, but the bartender stops him and says you shouldn't mess with that man because he is a member of a dark guild called Fire and Flame. So yeah, we found Igna's crew. Now they have two options. One, attack him and try to force him to tell him where their guild is, or, let's think about this for a second, or tail him from a distance and follow him back to his guild, to the fire god's castle. I'm just saying that would work really well. But knowing Natsu, my guess is he's going to immediately run out and attack Brain, which will be really stupid. Because once again, they don't want to take Brain down, they want to take Igna down. So following him to the castle would be best. Once again, I have no faith in Natsu, but we can always hope that Erza comes back and puts his ass in line. But anyway, if you enjoyed this video, subscribe, give it a thumbs up so you can enjoy more Fairy Tail and other my things. Thank you and have a great day.